Hi, my name is Shovelclaws. This is a commentated submission video for Sephonie. Sephonie is a third-person parkour platformer with some arcade puzzler elements. It's a pretty cool game. I'm quite a fan. We're gonna go ahead and jump into it because the game opens with this minute-long cutscene-ish. In Sephonie, we are playing as three researchers exploring an unexplored island. We play as Amy, who is the leader of the research team, Ingwen, and Ryu, who are both assistant researchers to Amy, and it's our job to explore this island and link with all of its species. Linking is a technology that allows us to uncover a bunch of information about the species we are linking with, and it's this powerful technology that we're going to use all throughout the game. As I said, this game is a third-person parkour platformer, but probably most importantly, and the most important thing to explain now, are the arcade puzzle elements as we get into the game now. So first, we start out here on the surface, and we have to link with a few creatures, and then we'll progress the story some. So linking is very simple. We have this grid of grid that changes per puzzle. And then we have these pieces that are given to us, and all we have to do is to match the colors. The more colors we match, the more colored tiles we match, the higher score we get for those tiles. Kind of similar to Tetris in a way. All we have to do is fill up the score meter. You saw there a funny glitch, we'll talk about that later. But one of the most important mechanics that we should go ahead and explain now are the bonus score tiles. As wow, this puzzle is really good RNG. The bonus score tiles that are on the board will give us bonus score, and they're really, really important in the run. We want to try to use as many of them as possible to try to get through the puzzles as fast as possible, get through the links. Now we have some movement mechanics that we're going to talk about real fast as we link with a few more species here. Poor little whale dude. But yeah, movement in this game is kind of strange. It has a pretty unique movement system. Most importantly to talk about is probably the sprinting in the game. That was also a very good puzzle, wow. Sprinting in the game controls not like sprinting in, say, Minecraft or other parkour games that you're probably, or other platformers that you're probably used to. It more controls like you're driving a race car. Your handling becomes steering to the left and right instead of turning, so you have to be very careful with where you move. Quick puzzle mechanic here in this link, we have the rocks. The rocks here just need to have something placed near them and they'll break. These are weak rocks, so all they need is one thing touching them. And then in the next puzzle, we actually have a different score mechanic. We can't connect more than 5 of the same color in a single combo, basically. So you'll see me place very carefully here to not connect too many of the same color. For example, turning that one to give the red an air avenue to get more points. And then not connecting those greens because that would cancel out our score bonus. But yeah, the next thing we should talk about movement-wise, jumping back to the movement, as we finish up the surface split, that's a really good surface, is the dash mechanic. The dashing in this game allows you to bounce off walls. It gives you a little bit of extra distance mid-air, but it also has some funny quirks that we'll be abusing throughout the run in order to do some pretty large skips. Additionally, there's wall running in this game. If you run alongside a wall, or if you sprint alongside a wall, you will actually attach to the wall and you'll start wall running. Quick story update after the surface split there. All we have to do are our 3 researchers have started exploring the island, but there's a weird kind of storm of this pollen looking stuff that kind of scares them down into the caves of the island. The caves of the island is where most of this game will be taking place. There are 3 layers to the caves. We'll be exploring layer 1 and 2, and then we'll get into layer 3 a little bit later on. But that's the kind of basics of Sephonie. This game's really straightforward on its surface, but there are a lot of cool things we can do with the movement systems alongside, having to get good RNG in those puzzles in order to get a really fast time in the game. This is also a very story-heavy game. You'll notice there are a lot of cutscenes, but that's okay. We don't have to mash or anything through them. They just kind of go. Here is a big skip. We're gonna grab that checkpoint for some safety and then dash across. And if you dash in mid-air, you only get one air dash. But we can use that, we can wall run along a wall, and that will actually refill our dash. That allows us to cross that gap that we're not meant to yet. And then we can actually wall run infinitely as long as we're turning into the wall. You only lose a slight amount of height whenever you do that. So we can actually just cross around that wall to get to our first of 5 key species. Key species are basically the 5 big checkpoints, I like to call, of the game. Each species we have to link with in order to beat the game. Thraskius here has a mechanic where he will breathe in and then will exhale. When he breathes in, he reduces our gravity, as you can see, and when he exhales, nothing happens. So really all we have to do is worry about the breathing in. And that missing the dash there is unfortunate. That's okay though. We can get back up. There's a really fast cycle you can take here with Thraskius, him breathing in and out every few seconds. But the fast cycle is like really, really difficult. So I don't hit it very often, but that's okay. Small little skip here. We're gonna wall run up next time he breathes in to get up to the top. And then boom, we're in the first key species link. Thraskius is a pretty straightforward link. There's not too much complicated with him. So I think this is decent time for a quick donation or two. All right. So there's one mechanic that I'm going to explain here because it actually is pretty important to the strategy here. Unfortunately, I kind of messed it up here, so this one's gonna be a bit long. This link is gonna take a little bit of extra time, but that's okay. Thraskius has this vent system. I think this is literally like one of the only times it shows up in the game, but you can see those little kind of colored spaces on the board. If we place the matching color, it will actually open up an extra scoring space up at the top section of the board there. So we want to we want to try to be able to open up those vents early on in order to score as much as possible during the puzzle. They close after each turn. Turns in the game, by the way, are either when we skip past our turn or whenever we run out of pieces. Typically, we don't end our turn early. We want to try to maximize our pieces, but sometimes it's worth it to end our turn early if we have some benefit from it in our next turn. Also, shout out to this guy with the levitating fish. He is just like me for real. But yeah, turns in the game will also impact what the creature does in response, because linking is not a one-way thing. The creature will actually evolve over the puzzle in a way and will throw new mechanics at you. There's one in that puzzle that I'm not going to explain because it really does not impact all that much. That just kind of takes up some of our time, but that's okay. After each key species, we have a small little cutscene, kind of building on some of our characters, building on some of the themes of the story. Like I said, this is a very story-driven game, so the story is very important. I'm not going to spoil too much of it, don't you worry. Go play this game for yourself if you're interested. There's a lot of cool character moments, a lot of very strange things on this island, but has this kind of queer erotic underpinning to it. I think it's really cool. I really enjoy this game's story. After Thraskius, we're gonna actually just hop on down to, oh god, okay. Thank God those purple spots refresh your dash if you dash into them, because that would have been a certain death, but it would have been fine. It would have been just a few seconds lost. But yeah, we're going to get into layer 2 now. So layer 2, just like layer 1 there, has a pretty big skip here. What we're going to do is kind of the same thing, where the game expects us to take this long, winding path. You can see this cave is like massive. But what we're gonna do is, our destination is just right around this corner. So we're just gonna hop up on there and then wall run around the corner there. And then this is Palmelia. Palmelia is responsible for some of the island's environmental developments. We're gonna skip all the platforming here by wall running around. You guessed it. But Palmelia is actually one of my favorite Onyx links in the entire game. It is really RNG dependent if you get to go fast, but I love when it pays off. It feels so good. Basically, Palmelia starts out with these kind of walnut looking things you can see on the board. And this is really, I'm not gonna put it there. Palmelia has these kind of walnut looking things on the board that will bloom into flowers. Oh my god, that was so fast! Yes! That was sick. Those walnut-looking things bloom into flowers, and then if all 4 of the cardinal directions, up, down, left, right, are next to a piece, then the 3x3 grid around that flower will get teleported. It gets teleported into a color-specific extra scoring zone. So if you see the red background with a certain color in the center of it, that means only a certain color will get extra score there in that space. So what we want to do is surround the top walnut with red pieces, the right walnut with green pieces, and then the bottom one with blue pieces. Typically, we only surround the top and right one because they open up first. It takes a certain amount of pieces placed in order for them to open on up. And then we have another cutscene. We can fit in probably 3 quick donations here, I think. This one is not too complicated. All right, thank you. So much generosity. All right, back into the run. Now we have the ability to interact with these little creatures. They will grab us with their tongues and drag us forward. We're not going to do it here though, because there's a cutscene that will play, and that cutscene is about 15 seconds long. Instead, we're gonna do this little climb up, and we're gonna... Oh, okay, saved on clutch. There's a cutscene here that if we manage to skip cleanly all 3 times we come to layer 3 here, then we will actually end up saving a few seconds. So chat, that's 1. Make sure to count with me with the next times we do it. I don't know how to count to 3, so you're gonna have to take responsibility for that. Someone's gonna have to teach me. But yeah, then we have a short little cutscene. This is where the game kind of starts. This is where the run really begins. We're entering into the hardest part of the run. 13 minutes in, about. This is gonna be Candromida. This is a bunch of story explanation. TLDR, in this island, there is a very bad thing that will basically end the world in a few years, and it's our job to stop it. But first we have to link with more key species in order to gain more abilities and become closer with the island's environment in order to stop it. this game was made during COVID-19, and there are a lot of influences from that. After that cutscene, we're going to return to Surface to cut out some backtracking. Returning to Surface puts us in the cave that that was there at the after Surface. Ooh, oh my god, I'm so clutch. Oh my god. Okay, but yeah. Next, we're gonna go to Candromida, and Candromida is really scary. This is the first of the big three, as I call them. These are character-specific chambers where one character is developed a lot. Again, story-driven game and all. But Candromida is very scary. It's about 4 minute long-ish platforming test where we grab this checkpoint at the start, and if we die, we go all the way back to the beginning. And that's, like, really bad, especially if we do it at the end. But it'll be really hype if we manage to do it. So let's go. I'm gonna stay quiet for this. I'm gonna let the gameplay kind of speak for itself. There are a lot of skips here, a lot of cool platforming, I think. So I'll let that talk for itself. Not to mention the beautiful soundtrack of this game. It's very good. But yeah. The really calm soundtrack really helps when this part's so intense. So far, so smooth. We're gonna go for a fast strat here. Okay, good thing that little guy's there to back us up. Fortunately, missed the fast strat, but that's okay. And then, okay, we're getting into the last part. We only have like 2 more jumps left, really, and if we hit them, we're home free. Unfortunately, this is gonna be one of the hardest jumps in the entire game. Frankly, it's completely blind out of this little dandelion that has us floating. So we're gonna come to the right here, attach, get on top of the light pole, okay, and then turn around. And this is basically a blind jump, so if we hit this, we're good. But if we miss it, we go all the way back. Alright, nice, yes. Alright, that's a basically perfect Candromida. There are faster strats you could do, but I'm not doing them. They're a bit too risky for my blood. But yeah, Candromida here is a freaky looking little dude. I don't like the way he's looking at us, but you know what, that's okay. His Onyx Link is pretty unique. Most of the key species in the game are pretty unique in their Onyx Links. But you'll see after a certain amount of pieces are placed, these little kind of sun orb looking things, I don't know what to call them, spawn in. Okay, that was a weird piece to place, but that's okay. Nice. These little sun orbs will spawn in, and they act as a score multiplier after a certain amount of turns. So basically, same thing as the score spaces, except they take a few turns to kind of activate. We're trying to, if one spawns in, we want to use it, because if we don't, it'll actually end up spawning slimes, which will block some of our piece placements. But if they do, it's not that big a deal. I really should have just placed that over the thing, but that's okay. But yeah, the sun orbs give us bonus points. We want to use them as soon as they pop up, because if we pass turn, the next turn they'll spawn slime, which blocks our pieces. If we try to place on top of a slime, it just deletes the piece. But after Candromida, we have a short little cutscene, and then we we revert back to our save. I forget here that you're supposed to return to surface. That's okay. But yeah, we just revert to our checkpoint, and then we get back to the start of the cave. Simple as that, no backtracking required. Candromida gives us a new ability, which we'll see in Layer 3 as we backtrack some to get to Layer 3 first. Real fast, chat, help me count to 3. I don't know what number is next, but whatever one is, I'm sure you'll handle it. But yeah, Candromita allows us to use those little fire orb looking things that you saw during the platforming section. So these little guys will increase our speed, and if we collect even one, but if we collect 3, it actually gives us an extended dash, and we're gonna use that to do yet again another layer skip. Layer 3 here will allow us to get on top of the roof here. And now we're kind of out of bounds, like pseudo out of bounds. The devs actually know that you can get up here, and they place like collectibles and stuff too. This game is like perfect for speedrunning. It's very chill and very relaxed, and it's all on latest patch, so you don't have to do anything. Devs are super cool with speedrunning too. They're pretty great. And then we're into our second of the big 3. This is Nimaganthi. I don't know how to say its name, if I'm being real. Aw, that's unlucky. I fell off the side and have to backtrack now because I need this thing. These little... Oh my god. These little green plant things will increase our jump height for 1 jump. They're consumables that we can use. And we need them in order to skip all of the platforming in this. And this is where I finally get to explain that thing we did in prologue, or in on the surface, in order to get underwater. Okay, I forget where to jump up on the roof here. We just need to get to the top of this roof and then do a little bit of a climb into the waterfall here. But photo mode abuse in this game allows us to basically phase through death planes. You'll see it coming up here as we jump on top of the waterfall. So this game's photo mode, super complicated, lots of power in it, but it sets your respawn point, and if you enter and leave photo mode, you can phase through death planes while dying, but photo mode sets your respawn point, so you'll respawn back right above, and that allows us to kind of just phase through the death plane, and just like that, we're fine. We get straight through all of the platforming to Nimaganthi. That skips probably what would be 4, maybe 3 minutes of platforming. I've never timed it myself, but it's pretty long. But unfortunately, Nimaganthi has the hardest puzzle in the game. This is the hardest Onyx Link, almost bar none, in my opinion. This puzzle introduces these little zoids, I think is what they're called. Zoids will actually highlight a certain area, and that area is the only place you can put pieces in. So unfortunately, we've gotten really bad piece RNG to capitalize off of any of the Zoid placement here. Our Zoid positioning, I guess, rather. So unfortunately, we have to just pass turn without actually scoring that much. And this is a great time to talk about the checkpoint system in the game. If you look at the score bar up at the top, okay, this is such a strange, way to play this. Oh god, I hate this. If you look at the score bar at the top of the screen, you'll see those white little pips in the score meter. What we want to do is we want to finish the puzzle before passing our turn. Before marking any of the pips. Oh, I unfortunately did not make it to the very end. We're super close though. Here we go. So yeah, we want to basically one cycle of the puzzles because those white pips will evolve the puzzle. I think I mentioned that some earlier. The mechanics will change, and that can really throw off your strategy. You saw it there first and foremost. Oh no, don't die there too. But yeah, the Nima is really rough in particular because it can just roll you. That was just bad piece RNG, unfortunately, and that one is particularly punishing if you get bad RNG, but that's okay. We're gonna return to surface again, cutting out some of the backtracking. Layer 3 is particularly rough to backtrack out of, so much faster to just return to surface. And then we're going to the third of our big 3. I know I said I couldn't count to 3, but look, don't worry about it. I love lying and getting chat involved in the bit. But we want to just come up here. This is layer 2. We had layer 2 skip earlier, but unfortunately we can't really skip the platforming here. Thankfully, it's not that long of a trek. The game expects you to have come up here already, and so, you know, put some shortcuts. And then Nemagonthi gives us the ability to see— oh, I jumped so early. Nemagonthi gives us the ability to play, or to see these invisible platforms. Not really see them until we, you know, get close to them, but gives us the ability to see them whenever we get close. And we have to use that to get all the way to Bathysmus's chamber. Bathysmus, or, you know, like how I call him Bathy, because that's a much cuter name, takes place in this kind of worn out city with some cool environments. This is a great time actually to mention the art direction of this game. It is fantastic. It has this really vibrant retro feel with some really cool environmental design. I love it. Small little skip here in order to get on top of this train station, and then we have a moving platform that's actually very slow in there, but much faster to just skip it and come around. And then just some simple platforming. The tongue creatures that we've been using the entire run have evolved into giving us some platforms. Unlucky jump there, but once we attach to them, they will have a little platform underneath, and we'll use that for some skips coming up. In the meantime, this is more just cool platforming with some small skips. So you have about 30 seconds for some donations real fast. Okay. Alright. Thank you so much. As you see, good cycle here. Oh, actually I messed it up by jumping too early. That's unlucky. As you saw, we have some bars that stick out of the walls now, and that gives us a little bit of extra height. We're going to use that for some skips coming up, but otherwise, just more simple platforming. There's a skip there you can go for. I do not go for it. But after we get up here, we're going to do 2 little wall runs off of here, jump to the right, grab onto the platform, and then hop over to this little capsule. This game has a lot of collectibles, as I mentioned while we were getting to Nemagonthi. This game's really fun to hundo as well, as it's pretty cool. But big leap here, using some of that coyote time to skip a ton of platforming. That skip's probably a good minute and a half. And then we're basically at the end of Bathysmus. We just have to jump up here, manage our height really well. Height management is actually really important in Bathy, because he has a few jumps like this where we just barely don't get enough height if we aren't doing it right. There we go. It's pretty precise with your angle and your jump timing. But yeah, all we gotta do is hop up on here. On top of this roof, there's a checkpoint that we're gonna grab in order to revert to checkpoint after Bathysmus. You may be wondering why we didn't do that at the bottom, because I'm not doing that twice in a run. I'm not going the entire run or the entire time without checkpoints, especially in this chamber, because one, there's an easy way to get back to the start of the cave out of Bathysmus from that checkpoint, and 2, because it has one of the harder skips in the game. I'm not doing that. I can handle Kandramida. It's earlier in the run. After 30 minutes, I don't want my run dying. But after we get up to Bathy, he has another pretty difficult link puzzle as well. He has these little pollen-looking guys. I'm not really sure what they're called, if I'm being honest. But these things we want to clear out during this first turn while scoring as much as possible, of course. And then we want to, before the white pip, we want to end our turn in order to get access to these blue score zones. So we want to connect as many blue pieces as we can. Unfortunately, my pieces aren't super great for this, but that's okay. But this blue should save me. Yeah, nice. Just barely, I think. Want to just be really careful with some of our piece management. That was a little bit rough, but that's okay. And then after Bathy, we'll revert to checkpoint and get out of here. That's all 3 of the big 3 linked with. So all 5 key species are done. And we're gonna go off to the final challenge. So all we gotta do is get down this hill, and then short little cutscene where Ryu turns into a ghost. Okay, bye buddy. Nice to have you. Story stuff. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna spoil it too much. But we have to go link with Ryu before our final task, our final trek. We have a bit of backtracking to do. You can read a quick donation if you'd like to. We have some time. Alright, awesome. So, real fast, little swag wall run here. If we hit this, okay, that's a guaranteed world record because that saves 10 trillion years and is also cool as hell. We just have to get to Ryu, back up to Bathy. Thankfully, the game gives us some shortcuts so we don't have to, do all of that difficult platforming again. And then Ryu actually has another one of my favorite link or Onyx links in the entire game. Ryu invents gravity. Big news for non-binary people. Non-binary person just invented gravity. They will the pieces after a certain amount of pieces are placed will just fall down. That's how gravity works. Congrats everyone, go home. We also have the Mind Mole, as the game calls it, which will give us, unfortunately we couldn't one-cycle it, but that's okay. The Mind Mole requires 5 pieces to be placed on top of it, and then it will spawn an extra scoring zone. Unfortunately, where the Mind Mole spawns is actually RNG, and so that was a decent Ryu. We have to be, we kind of have to luck out on where it ends up when it only has 1 health remaining, basically. Because after we place on top of it 5 times, it spawns those score zones, and it only moves when we place on top of it, or pass turn, but we're not passing turn. We wanna score as many points as we can, even if it's not optimal. So you kind of have to hope that Mind Mole behaves in that part. If it doesn't, then, it happens. Not that big a deal. And then, now, after my cute little fake out, I'm good at this thing. I love lying. After linking with Ryu and a short cutscene on the surface, we are truly off to our last enemy. We are gonna go link with Null, the core in the island. Okay. Grab me backwards, why don't you? We're gonna go link with Null. Chat, I hope you've been counting, because this is our last cutscene skip here. I think we actually might have ended up saving some time there. It was a bit sloppy with the movement after the first time, and I, didn't do it perfectly, but that's okay. But yeah, we're gonna go off into the core now. We have linked with all of the island's key species, so we have a good relationship with the island, and we're gonna do some parkouring. This is the longest section in the game, typically, at least casually for me it was, because I guess it wasn't the longest because I was good at the parkouring by this point, but it's a very long parkour section without any Onyx links where you have to get to the core. It's a pretty interesting challenge, casually. We're gonna break it to pieces though. You're not ready for it. You're not ready for this. So first we're gonna wedge ourselves up here. For some reason when you're up there, the roof sometimes just deloads, and that allows us to fall all the way down. Oh my god, I started that photo mode abuse so early, so this is gonna take a second, but that's okay. So yeah, we're gonna do some photo mode abuse after getting out of bounds there to get under the lava here. That will allow us to skip a ton of the core here in order to get to the next park platforming section. While we're running over here, we can fit in one more last minute donation if we have. Alright, awesome, thank you so much. Now here we're doing a really annoying photo mode abuse, where you have to spam dash on this wall here in order to get up the wall, and you have to do a photo mode abuse to get up through the death plane instead of down through it. It's the only time we do that, but it's pretty strange. And then we're gonna grab this checkpoint and grab these 3 dash orbs. The game expects you to do this pretty long parkouring section in this little rock here, but what we're actually gonna do is just wall run outside of it with that extra speed and then hop on up here. There used to be an old strat where we enter photo mode and do a bunch of, that's unfortunate, bunch of annoying platforming. It's awful, it was miserable. Thank God we found a different strat. And then we're gonna hop up on here on this little worm looking structure, and then cute little hops up here to the top here. Next is a photo mode abuse, but not at all like you're expecting. Instead of going through a death plane, we're actually gonna be carrying an effect from this little firewall. This little firewall, once we enter it, it gives us infinite extra dash power, like those fire orbs on the ground that we've been collecting. So now we can just tear stuff up. Unfortunately, we can't skip all that much, but we can skip a whole bunch of stuff here. This section took some time in my casual playthrough, and then just knock down the wall there with our dash, and that's the core. Very clean, very safe. I want to point out here the best possible time that I have is a 40 flat, and I was going for sub 40, so wow, that was funny. But yeah, that is going to be core, and we're coming up on time in just a few minutes. So I'm gonna give some shout outs real fast. First, I want to shout out Angelistic Productions, I believe is how you pronounce their name. They produce a lot of really interesting, cool games. They're coming out with an RPG with a really, really unique combat system soon called Angeline Era, and I think I'm very excited for it. It looks really cool and really interesting. I might end up speedrunning it, who knows. And then once we get through the cutscenes here, as we get through the cutscenes here, I want to give a shout out to Nobody for finding a ton of the strats I used here. They were the only runner before I picked up this game, and now they don't run anymore. I think I'm the only real active runner. They've helped lab some strats out and stuff, but haven't returned to runs themselves. But they were undisputably kind of goated. Found a bunch of the strats here. I wouldn't have been able to find them myself. And then yeah, I think that's it. I want to give another shill moment to Sephonie here. This game's, I believe, $8 on Steam now, and it's very, very good. It has some really cool platforming. It has a very interesting story with themes of environmentalism, with some queer romantic elements, and it's all very beautiful. I think this game is gorgeous. I love the way it looks. It has a very retro feel to it, and some of the platforming is really awesome. But with that, let's get into Null's Link. Null's Link here introduces these little parasite guys. They will spawn 8 random colors in a 3x3 grid that is missing the middle. And we want to be able to try to avoid that, because as you can see, that little DNA cell in the center of that grid of colors at the bottom right was blocked by the cells. That's because the Null Quadrant will spawn in these miracle cells. These guys will give us a, as you saw just now, a 9x9 grid of of whatever color we place on top of it. So we want to try to place a color that will give us as much score as possible. We also want to generally avoid the white pips, especially on this puzzle, because Null will spawn in these bacteria that literally just like eat your stuff, and it sucks. And time. Nice. That kind of snuck up on me, sorry about that. We actually end up not linking with Null. We run out of time and don't get to link with it. But yeah, that was Sephonie. I have a few after run thoughts that I'm gonna say from the video itself, but otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I love this game and would be hyped to run it. Oh my god, that was funny. Having to gold to get the sub 40 was like very humorous, because I was looking at my best possible time like, ah shit, this is close. And then honestly, I feel like that Null wasn't even that good. I don't think I played that Link very well, but it was enough to gold, enough to clutch out the sub 40, so I'm fucking happy. That was clutch as hell. That was sick. That was a really fun run to do. I took it a bit safe on Kandra because I've been throwing runs left and right. Last time I played, I just could not get a run past Kandra Mida, because that is the hardest split in the run. Because if you die, you go all the way back to the start, and then Nima just went wrong again. That puzzle, the link with Nima was just really bad, and I died at the start twice too. It was like, I don't know, that was weird. I guess I have to just work on my Nima, but Pomelio was clean. Braskius, I didn't hit the fast cycle again. The fast cycle is just really hard, I think, but that's fine. Pomelio was clean, Kandra Mida was clean. Nima sucked dick. Kathy had some fucked up mistakes, but I ended up saving time just because I didn't go for a few skips. Ryu's Link was just really fucking rough. I had really bad RNG with the Mind Mole. It moved to really rough places. But Null Cave was really good. The only mistake really in Null Cave was I had at the start, I missed a clip once, and then I started photo mode abuse way too early, so it took me like probably 10 extra seconds or something to get under the lava. And then I fell once at the like teleport orb section, but I'm not too worried about that. That part just kind of sucks to go fast at least. Yeah, that was... I feel like I played that super well, but there were just a few parts where it was kind of rough. But I'm happy to have the sub 40. This is hype. Hell yeah. I feel ready for GDQ submissions. I'm probably gonna voice over this. That's probably what you're hearing, and then submit this to GDQ. But yeah, probably gonna unlist my old Sephonie world record. That's fine though. My what is it, 42? The PP I got before this. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with how that run went. Oh yeah, before I forget, my last PB I didn't include the IGT. So let me go to main menu just for the funsies. A 40, 41 IGT. Not that IGT really matters that much. But yeah. Pretty happy. Pretty good with that.